If you're gonna be single for Christmas, then you're not alone. Sit back and enjoy these criminals instead. I'm your host Yusuf, and these are the top 10 evil couples in history you never want to meet. Make sure you subscribe and ring that bell to get notified whenever we upload a new video. Anyways, let's pair up. Number 10, Karla Homolka and Paul Bernardo. The pair of criminals first met in 1987, where the veterinary technician Karla Homolka was introduced to the cigarette smuggler Paul Bernardo. Before the pair met up, Paul had violated more than 10 people. Between the years 1990 and 1992, Homolka and Bernardo ended the lives of and violated 3 women, including Homolka's sister. Paul Bernardo is currently serving life in prison for the crimes, but Karla Homolka got an amazing deal from the courts and only served 12 years for her involvement in the crimes. Homolka is now free, married, and has 3 children. The pair were known as the Ken and Barbie Butchers while they were active, and I'm not totally sure why, because the two were kinda butters in my opinion. Number 9, Christine Paulilla and Chris Snyder. In 2003, 17-year-old Christine Paulilla met 21-year-old Christopher Lee Snyder the same year that Paulilla was voted Miss Irresistible by her classmates. The two began dating and fell into a life of substance abuse. On July 18th of that year, Paulilla and Snyder went to Paulilla's friend's house in order to steal substances, but after an argument ensued, the couple shot and ended the lives of the 4 people in the house, 2 of Paulilla's best friends and their boyfriends, and went on the run. It would be almost 3 years until police apprehended Paulilla for the crime. Paulilla was sentenced to life in prison with the chance of parole in 2046, and Snyder overdosed on a needle substance before he was able to be charged. Taking the easy way out, huh? Number 8, Jasmine Richardson and Jeremy Steinke. In 2006, Jasmine Richardson met Jeremy Steinke, a self-proclaimed 300-year-old vampire, at a punk rock concert. The two began dating, much to the outrage and chagrin of Richardson's parents. The two grounded her and forbade her from seeing Steinke ever again. So, in retaliation, on the night of April 22nd, 2006, Richardson and Steinke ended the lives of Richardson's parents and her brother. While Steinke was sentenced to 3 concurrent life sentences for 3 counts of first-degree butchery, since Richardson was a minor, her maximum sentence was only 10 years, including time served. She was released in 2016. That's an extreme reaction to being grounded. Your parents took the time to raise you and that's what you do? Everyone watching this video, make sure to tell your parents you love them today. Show them you care. Number 7, Bailey Boswell and Aubrey Trail. In 2017, 23-year-old Bailey Boswell and 50-year-old Aubrey Trail lured Sydney Loof to her passing. Initially, Loof thought she was going on a date with Boswell, whom she met on Tinder, but in actuality, she was a targeted victim of this couple. Loof's remains were found throughout 16 garbage bags, and not long after, Boswell and Trail were arrested. Trail was found guilty of first-degree slaughter, conspiracy to commit slaughter, and improper disposal of human remains, and was sentenced to execution. Bailey, who was also found guilty, is currently waiting to hear if she will be sentenced to life in prison or to execution. Stay safe on those dating apps, fellas. I personally don't have to worry because I get no matches anyways. Number 6, Martha Beck and Raymond Fernandez. In 1947, conman Raymond Fernandez responded to Martha Beck's Lonely Hearts ad in the paper. After realizing she wasn't as rich as he surmised, he's a gold digger, he left her. However, Beck still pursued Fernandez into 1948. He finally told her that he was a con man and swindled women out of their money. But instead of running away, Beck asked to become his accomplice. The two went on to swindle and remove between 3 to 17 women over the next year, under the guise of being brother and sister. Beck and Fernandez were found guilty of first-degree slaughter and sentenced to execution via electric chair. They both passed away in 1951. The two were known as the Lonely Hearts Butchers. Now that's what I call wholesome. Just 2 folks who don't really romantically like each other getting together for some extracurricular activities. Number 5, Sarah Jane and John Makin. In 1871, Sarah Jane and John Makin married and went on to have 10 children together. Sometime in the late 1880s, John lost his job, so he and Sarah became baby farmers, caring for illegitimate children in exchange for money, a precursor to foster care, if you will, to a number of infants. In 1893, the Makins were found guilty of slaughtering Horace Murray, but after further investigation, police discovered the corpses of at least 12 bodies on their property, who the police believe the Makins received payment for after their passings. John Makin was sentenced to execution, and Sarah Makin was sentenced to life in prison but was paroled in 1911. These people were absolutely deranged. Then again, anyone who calls themselves a baby farmer should definitely be ashamed of themselves at the very least. At least a little teased, you know? Why make it so weird? At number 4, Henry Lee Lucas and Otis Toole. In 1976, Henry Lee Lucas Lucas and Ottis Toole, two men who were abused by their mothers and forced to dress up as little girls, started a relationship after bonding over their childhood abuse. Soon after, they discovered their taste for blood and began torturing and executing innocent victims together. The two later separated and were apprehended separately for other crimes. Both Lucas and Toole confessed to hundreds of executions, but only 3 and 6 victims were confirmed respectively. Lucas and Toole were both sentenced to life in prison and passed in prison in 2001 and 1996 respectively. I almost felt bad for these guys because of their childhood, but it's actually proven that childhood trauma is super common in serial executioners. I feel like it's just so normal for the criminals to have family problems that it's beyond sympathy. What do you guys think? At number 3, Nessa Tarverdiyeva and Raymond Podkopaev. This one is absolutely wild. Nessa Tarverdiyeva, her second husband Raymond Podkopaev, and her daughters, Victoria and Anastasia, are a family of serial butchers. In 2013, the family was apprehended, and it was discovered that they ended the lives of at least 30 people and stole thousands of dollars. Upon searching their home, police found over 20 firearms inside. Podkopaev was ended in a police shootout, but Nessa, Victoria, and Anastasia were sentenced to 16 to 21 years in prison for their crimes. I told you it was crazy. Even if you're running a family-run business of chopping up people like cilantro and stealing their Parmesan, why would you ever need 20 firearms? Does each family member have 5 favorites or something? Is it like a tasting menu for torture? Who knows? Number 2, Gwenddlyn Graham and Cathy Wood. In 1987, Gwenddlyn Graham and Cathy Wood, who was married to a man at the time, were nurses' aides in Michigan who ended the lives of 5 of their elderly patients from their nursing home. According to Wood, Graham would execute the patients and then have intimate relations with her as a way to relieve tension. In an exchange for a lesser sentence, Wood testified against Graham, who was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. Wood received a sentence of 20 to 40 years and was released in 2020. This might be controversial, but I'm just saying, executing the elderly is being a serial butcher on easy mode. There's no thrill in the chase or anything. Maybe I've been working on this channel for too long. At number 1, what list would be incomplete without Bonnie and Clyde? In 1930, 19-year-old Bonnie Parker met 21-year-old Clyde Barrow. The next couple of years, Barrow spent in and out of prison, but once he was released in 1932, their crime spree began. Even though they're most known for their numerous robberies of banks and small stores, they also put up to 9 cops and 4 civilians in the dirt. On May 13th, 1934, police officers and Texas Rangers opened fire on Parker and Barrow as they were leaving their hideout. They were shot and executed instantly. These two have been the inspiration for so many copycats that it's hard to believe they passed in such a mundane way. Sure, it's kind of crazy to be instantly eliminated as soon as you walk outside, but they didn't fight back or anything. Thanks for watching. Leave a like and comment if you enjoyed this one, and we'll see you next time on Crime Time.